Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is still lacking momentum in the shorter term, playing out this bearish divergence as the price is now starting to move closer towards this major area of liquidity just below the current price, which I'll talk about in just a moment, alongside Ethereum, which is still trading within a sideways price range, but possibly forming a bullish flag pattern, which I'll also talk about in just a moment, alongside the price of Solana, which is now starting to invalidate this previous short-term bullish divergence. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the 4-day Bitcoin price chart, and over the last 1 day, the super trend indicator has not changed. So getting straight into the weekly Bitcoin price chart, and for now, obviously, we're seeing declining bullish momentum, as I've said many times recently here on the channel, but at least for now, we've not yet confirmed a new bearish crossover in the weekly Bitcoin MACD. So at least for now, technically, we're still looking more bullish than we are bearish, but once again, just seeing a slight slowdown in the shorter term, lacking bullish momentum, at least for now. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin chart, obviously for now we do have a massive bearish divergence to watch out for, with higher highs confirmed in the price of Bitcoin and lower highs confirmed in the weekly Bitcoin RSI. And so of course this is a significant warning signal to pay attention to, as I've mentioned recently here on the channel. And so far we have one confirmation signal, one candle close on the weekly time frame confirming this lower high in place in the weekly RSI. So technically speaking, this bearish divergence is now confirmed. It is now active on the weekly time frame, and in order to invalidate this bearish divergence, we need to see a very quick breakout at some point in the next 1 or 2 weeks in order to quickly invalidate this bearish divergence. But if we fail to see a decent amount of bullish price action within the next 1 to 2 weeks, and instead we just play out either a sideways consolidation or a slight little pullback over the next couple of weeks, if that plays out, ultimately, it's very likely we're going to see a larger slowdown, at least for a few weeks following that, most likely for a few months. Because we could see in the past, of course, bearish divergences don't always result in a massive trend reversal from bull market to bear market, but they often do result in larger slowdowns or larger pullbacks in the price at the very least. For example, this one right here resulted in a pullback that lasted for a couple of months. We saw a bearish divergence here on the weekly Bitcoin price chart around mid-2023 that resulted in a pullback over around 1 to 2 months. And then of course we saw this bearish divergence, which resulted in basically a 1-year bear market, but there were also other factors that helped to cause that 1-year bear market during 2022. And so at the very least, we're looking at potentially a 1 to 2 month pullback or a larger slowdown in the price of Bitcoin if we fail to see any decent bullish price action just in the next 1 to 2 weeks. And that's pretty much exactly what I was talking about near the beginning of this year, around January this year. I was saying we have this bearish divergence between these two highs in the price and of course these lower highs here in the RSI. That's what I was saying earlier in the year, telling you that it's very likely we're going to see a larger slowdown for the next couple of months at the very least. And even though we ultimately saw the larger pullback over the next couple of months from January all the way through to basically the end of March, even though that played out as I warned about, at the time when I was making that warning, a lot of people were commenting negative comments on this channel saying that no, I will be wrong, Bitcoin's going to go to 150k, 200k, and a lot of other people out there were calling for 200, 300k Bitcoin coming very soon. But of course here on this channel, I want to try and keep it as realistic as possible with all of you, telling you about these possible warning signals as they are starting to confirm. But with that being said, taking a look at this 3-day time frame, and right now, once again, we're losing bullish momentum on the 3-day chart. As I've said every day over the last 1 to 2 weeks now, we're seeing a pullback in the RSI, potentially a breakdown in this previous bullish price structure in the RSI, and also obviously losing bullish momentum in the histogram within the MACD indicator, moving closer towards a bearish crossover. And the last time we saw something similar to this in the 3-day Bitcoin MACD was basically during the most part of December, so late November, early December 2024, we were seeing pretty much this exact same signal in the 3-day Bitcoin MACD. And of course, what came next was obviously a slowdown, followed by ultimately a larger pullback a couple of months later. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin price chart, when it comes to support and resistance to watch out for, first of all, we do have some short-term support at roughly around 104,000 and major support at around 102,000 approximately. And as for resistance, we do have some resistance resistance at around 106,000, major resistance at 110,000, and also at around 112,000. And this significant point of support at around 102,000, really in between 101 to 102,000, that's the significant area of support to pay attention to, because if we see a breakdown past that point on the price chart, especially with candle closes to the downside below that level, in that situation, that would be a breakdown of the bullish price structure, pointing towards a potential trend reversal on the daily time frame. Because technically speaking, despite the current slowdown that we're already seeing, the lack in bullish momentum in the shorter term, technically speaking, we've not yet confirmed any new lower highs or lower lows. So at least for now, technically on the daily time frame, we're still within a larger bullish trend. But as I've said many times recently here on the channel, the point where that would potentially change and would potentially start forming a new bearish trend is if we see a break below these lows right here at around 101 to 102,000. So for the bulls out there, we need to hold above that area on the price chart. And as for the next area of support to the downside to watch out for, in case we actually break below 101 to 102,000, in that situation, I would expect to move down towards around 96 to 98,000 as the next major area of support. And if we're taking a look at the 12-hour time frame, technically the bearish divergence on this 12-hour Bitcoin price chart is still currently active, because we've not yet confirmed any invalidation signal to invalidate the bearish divergence. So like I've been saying every day for over a week now, for almost 2 weeks now, of course, this means we're most likely going to see a lack in bullish momentum in the shorter term. So either a pullback in the price, or at the very least a bit of sideways price action. So once again, not much bullish momentum is to be expected here. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, currently we have mainly two areas of liquidity to watch out for. First of all, we have this area at around 110 to 111,000, so basically around the all-time high. But obviously between the current price and that area of liquidity, we have a lot of resistance to pay attention to, as I mentioned earlier. And also remember, at least for now, this bearish divergence is still currently active, which means we should not necessarily expect a massive amount of bullish momentum to take out that liquidity. And the other area of liquidity to watch out for based on this liquidation heat map is sitting at around 103,000, really just underneath 103,000 is the area to watch out for. So at least for now, this chart right here is telling us it's quite likely the price of Bitcoin could come back down a little bit lower, at least, to take out that liquidity. And so as always, there's no such thing as a 100% guarantee ever, but usually the price of Bitcoin tends to move towards where there's a lot of liquidity. So just keep that in mind. And of course, if you want to know my exact trading strategy over the last one day, it has not changed, obviously. So right now I'm still in this larger Bitcoin long position, the larger swing trade, which I entered over a month ago now on the channel. I've been talking about this every day for over a month now. And the reason why I've not closed the entire trade, despite the fact that we're lacking bullish momentum for now, is because technically speaking, like I said earlier, we're still within this bullish trend on the daily time frame until confirmed otherwise. And the point where we would confirm otherwise would be a break below these lows right here at around 101 to 102,000. And so if that happens, then of course that will just hit this stop loss here and close the trade at that level automatically in profits. And of course, on top of the fact that the stop loss would close the trade in profits, obviously over the last couple of weeks, I have already been taking some profits out of this trade, as I've been sharing here on the channel, exactly as I've been doing it from time to time. And so once again, over the last one day, my trading strategy has not really changed at all. And of course, I will be letting you know about my next trading opportunity as soon as I take my next trade here on the channel. So make sure you're subscribed to this channel with notifications turned on so that you don't miss out on any of these important update videos where I'm sharing very transparently these trades that I'm taking to make a lot of easy profits in the crypto market, no matter what direction the price goes. And if you also want to take trades just like this to make a lot of easy profits in the market, of course, you have to be set up ready to go on a crypto exchange. And personally, I'm taking this trade right here over on 2bit. So I'll make sure to leave a link to 2bit below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, you can get some massive trading bonuses that are only available using the link below this video. And in case you're wondering, 2bit is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want 2bit as an exchange, there's also Bitfinex as another exchange out there that I also trade on. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to Bitfinex below this video. And if you use that link, but only if you use that link, you can get a massive fee discount that lasts forever on your account. So you can actually get a 10% discount on all trading fees on the Bitfinex exchange forever. Once again, that's a lifetime fee discount, but only if you use the link below this video to Bitfinex. And so if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, or if you're preparing to take the next trading opportunity, you might as well get set up, ready to go using the links below this video if you want to claim those massive bonuses that are only available using those links once again. And in case you're wondering, Bitfinex is also a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame, and right now Ethereum is still lacking momentum to either direction, at least in the short term. We're still just bouncing around sideways in a sideways price range between support and resistance. And currently the line of support to watch out for is sitting at around 2460 to 2470, give or take. And below that, we have some more support closer towards 2.4K, and we have some major resistance in between 2.7K to 2.8K. And while the price is just chopping around sideways here, technically we are possibly forming a bullish flag pattern, a bull flag pattern, with a technical price target at much higher prices. If we're measuring out the technical price target, that is sitting at just above 3.6K. So for example, if we first confirm a breakout above this golden pocket here, not just above 2.7K, but ideally confirming candle closes above 2.8K, then in that situation, that would set up a major move towards the upside, potentially around a 30% move towards the upside for the price of ETH. But obviously between the breakout point and that price target, there's also potentially other points of resistance along the way, like for example this Fibonacci level at in between 3.2K to 3.3K. And of course, as always, I want to make this clear, at least for now, that possible price target is not currently in play. It is not confirmed because we've not yet confirmed a breakout above this golden pocket area of resistance in between 2.7K to 2.8K. So continue to expect the price to struggle in that area. Once again, it's still acting as a resistance. And obviously, if you're just holding Ethereum, this type of price action is extremely boring. Nothing's happening. The price is just bouncing around sideways in a sideways price range. But as crypto traders, we can make a lot of easy profits in the crypto market during choppy sideways price action just like this. And if you want to know how to do that for yourself, then stick around to the end of this video to find out more. But with that being said, over the last one day, obviously not much has changed for Ethereum. So getting straight into the price of Solana on the daily time frame, and currently Solana is still playing out bearish price structure on the daily chart. And as for support, we do have some short-term support at around 153 to 154, give or take, and major support in between around 143 to 146. And as for resistance, we do have some resistance at around 165 to 167, more resistance at around 180, and also at 184. And if we're zooming into the shorter term, looking at the 4-hour time frame, obviously for the last few days, for almost half a week, give or take, we've been playing out a short-term bullish divergence for the price of Solana, with lower lows previously confirmed in the price and higher lows previously confirmed in the 4-hour Solana RSI. And of course, this played out very nicely for a few days here, just on the 4-hour time frame. But currently, we are potentially starting to see some invalidation signals for this short-term bullish divergence by seeing a breakdown in the RSI. So this is the first invalidation signal confirming to invalidate the bullish divergence. And a second invalidation signal would be if we actually break into lower lows in the RSI. So if we break below, for example, this previous low in the 4-hour Solana RSI, that would be a strong invalidation signal telling us the bullish divergence is completely over. But considering we've already seen this first invalidation signal, I'd not necessarily rely too heavily on this bullish divergence for any longer. And so ultimately in the shorter term, I expect very similar price action to what I said just for Ethereum and for Bitcoin. So basically lacking momentum. Obviously right now that's lacking momentum to either direction. We don't really have significant bearish or bullish momentum just in the immediate short term. So honestly, the price of Solana is quite likely going to play out a bit of choppy sideways price action now, potentially just for a couple of days here. And I realize that a lot of people out there do not like hearing that. Obviously, choppy sideways price action is very boring price action for the holders out there. But once again, as traders, we can make a lot of profits from this type of price action, which I'll talk about later in the video once again. But for now, that is just realistically what is most likely going to happen here in the shorter term, because we're lacking momentum to either direction. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the daily time frame, it's a similar situation for XRP. Technically, we're still within this larger pullback phase phase currently, because at least for now, obviously, we've broken below this previous important point of support and we've failed to get back above this area, which is technically bearish price structure on the daily XRP price chart. But just in the immediate short term here, obviously over the last few days, we have been seeing just a bit of a short-term relief from all of the bearish price action, which is obviously what I've been predicting for the last few days here, now that we have run into very important support, obviously acting as a lot of support, having a lot of buying pressure coming into play around that area, and that's sitting in between around $2.10 to $2.15. And so for now, that is still the area of support to focus on. And as for resistance, we do have some major resistance in between around $2.30 to $2.34. And if we can break out back above $2.34 in that situation, we have more resistance at around $2.44 and major resistance in between $2.56 to $2.62. And these other levels of support have not changed over the last 1 day for the price of XRP. And of course, as I explained in my last video, this is potentially a make or break moment for the price of XRP, really over the next few days or so, over the next 1 week, give or take. Because if, for example, we reject here and basically fail to get back above this area of resistance in between 230 to 234, in that situation, we are at risk of forming a head and shoulders pattern on the daily time frame. And of course, a head and shoulders pattern is a bearish price pattern, which would form a significant bearish price target, likely well below $2 for the price of XRP. So just keep that in mind. That's something that is possibly forming, but obviously not currently confirmed. And the make or break moment that I was just talking about is if we can actually break out above that area of resistance and not reject here. So for example, if we see candle closes above around 234 and ideally above 244, in that situation, we would not really have this head and shoulders forming anymore, and we'll potentially have a much larger inverse head and shoulders pattern on the daily XRP price chart. And so in order to confirm that, we need to actually see a further recovery for the price of XRP in the coming days and weeks here, and then ultimately confirming a breakout with candle closes confirming above the golden pocket, so above around $2.62. And if that happens, that will set up a significant bullish price target, likely well into all-time highs for the price of XRP, well beyond $3. But obviously right now we're still in that make or break moment phase. Obviously, we've not yet confirmed either scenario. We're still waiting for those signals to actually confirm before ultimately setting up that next price target. So for now, we simply just have to wait and see what confirms here over the next few days to figure out what is most likely going to happen for the next few weeks or possibly months. But over the last 1 day, not a lot has changed for the price of XRP. So getting straight into the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, and it's also a pretty similar situation for Chainlink. Technically, we're still playing out bearish price structure. The larger price structure is currently bearish, at least for now, as we have broken below a key point on the price chart and failed to get back above that area, which is obviously bearish price structure once again. But in the immediate short term, just for the last few days and most likely for the next few days, we are lacking momentum to either direction. And so honestly, I'd not be surprised if we play out a little bit more choppy sideways price action just in the immediate short term for the price of Chainlink. And we are also potentially at risk of forming a head and shoulders pattern, like I just said, for XRP on the daily time frame. But once again, in order to actually confirm this head and shoulders pattern here, we need to actually see more of a bounce in the short term, first of all, over the next few days or so, and then ultimately a rejection from this golden pocket in between around 1490 to 1550. If we fail to get back above that area and reject from roughly around that area, in that situation, once again, that would form the head and shoulders pattern, and then we would need to see a confirmed break below the neckline here. So that's sitting at around 1350. So for example, if we first see a bounce and then ultimately a confirmed break below 1350, that would set up a major bearish price target closer towards around $10 to $11. But in the meantime, obviously we still have this support to focus on at around 1350, and we have more support at 1320, at 1280, at 1220, and then if we break below all of that, then we're likely going to go below $11, closer towards $10 again. But once again, as I just said earlier, it's extremely likely we're just going to play out a little bit more choppy sideways price action here in the immediate short term, just for the next couple of days, considering, at least for now, not just Chainlink, but really the overall crypto market is lacking momentum in the short term to either direction. But once again, if you want to get set up ready to go to take these trading opportunities in the price of any crypto, check out the links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim those massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you also want to know how you can take these trades for yourself to make a lot of easy profits in the crypto market, or if you want to know how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen, because the video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.